In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with JD Prater. He's hailing over as the head of marketing at Osmos. And Osmos is all about bringing data into sort of your infrastructure and your environment. And today we're going to be learning about what that really means in detail, what the tool is capable of, but also how JD is thinking about growth for the company as a head of marketing. And as you know, guys, at the end, there will be that rapid fire questions that, the regulars of you are looking forward to. So we're going to be sure to get them in today as well. So JD, welcome to the show.
I'm really excited to be here. That's such a fun podcast.
Very cool. So, give us that, 360 overview. What is Osmos all about?
Yeah, so Osmos, all about bringing in that external data into your systems. So external data, what is this term, right? It's customer data, it's partner data, it's vendor data, third-party data. And a lot of companies need that into their SaaS application in order to even operate and even to run, right? Some are pulling in that partner data into an ERP system. Well, in order for that CSV, because we love spreadsheets so much, we got to be able to format it, shape it, and clean it to even fit into the ERP, right? And so that's what Osmos does. And we do it really well with a lot of our two products. An uploader, so that's like a self-serve button. You can put a button within your product. You push the button, opens up an interface. Someone can drop in a CSV. They can then clean up the data based off your destination schema. So you just type in how you want it to be cleaned. They will be cleaned to that. So now it comes in just like you want it every time. It's fun. The other one is an automated pipeline. So it's a data pipeline we're all familiar with. Connect system A to system B. In the middle, we'll clean it up, make sure it's, again, formatted, shaped, and put in. So you only bring in clean data.
Got you. And who would be sort of, picking up on the solution? Is that a head of product because they say sort of we need that uploading function within the product, or is that a CDO because they just want to save time for their team, or give us an insight.
Yeah, you're hitting on it, right? And we're finding out it's a very horizontal solution, right? So who has that problem? You're right. It is like a head of product or a PM. But also, so does your frontline teams. It's your customer service, your sales teams are bringing that data in, and they're like, oh, I need to I don't want to clean up this spreadsheet. Hey, dev team, hey, data team, can you clean this up and ingest it? I don't have API keys. I don't have access to our data warehouse or our product. And so what we're finding is it's a very cross-functional buying committee, because you'll have to have product if you're going to embed some kind of uploader. You'll need a lot of times the CTO is coming in because they're owning of the tech stack or the data stack. It's kind of their budget, but you're also equipping your frontline teams, your CS or sales teams. And sometimes in some cases, even the marketers out there who are getting maybe external leads and need to ingest those right into your Salesforce or your HubSpot, right? Maybe you did a webinar out there for all you marketers and you have a partner data and you need to ingest those quickly and clean them up without being in Excel or in a spreadsheet, cleaning those up annually.
Yeah, makes complete sense. How would you say, how do these folks hear about Osmos? It's actually, we had a quick chat prior. It's a really new space. It's an evolving space. How do they hear about it? Are they aware of the problem? Do they search for solutions? Maybe tell us a bit about their journey.
Yeah, this is one thing that as a marketer, we're definitely trying to focus on and figure out. No one is searching, I have an external data problem, right? And so a lot of times, and by far the most of our customers and leads that are coming in, they're coming in through a Google search. And so right now we're running Google ads, right? Trying to be there for those top of mind queries when that problem is present. You're doing a search for a solution. We want our ad to be there. In the back end, our kind of our another channel we're working on is really the content piece. How do we educate the industry, the market, that this is a problem, but also answer those queries in blog posts? That way we can maybe start ranking, start getting some of that SEO value. So those two are our main ways of driving traffic, but also bringing in leads and customers.
That's cool. And what would you say the website? What role does it play in the journey that you were just describing? Do you sort of how do you see the role of it, and how do you see it changing maybe as the industry also evolves?
Yeah, I mean, website is huge, right? We have to educate so many different type of personas. Like we said, it's very horizontal. It's also across a lot of different verticals. I wish I could say we were the data onboarding solution for insurance companies. That would make it so much easier. The problem is it's everyone has this problem, right? And so we're trying to do a couple of things with the website. Right now, we know that roughly 75% of people are solving this either through FTP, even moving emails back and forth, which has PII issues, right? Not necessarily HIPAA compliant, maybe not even GDPR compliant. And then we also know that people are using APIs to do this. Lastly, there's a good section of people that have built an internal tool. Mm-hmm. So I need to account for all of these use cases, and I need to let them know that we can solve their problem across different verticals and across those different ways that maybe they've already tried. So website is incredibly important to understand. Yes, we can solve it. Yes, we can solve it better than any of our competitors. Please pick us, start your free trial.
It seems like one of those problems, like once you've experienced it once, that you ever wonder why you made it so complicated prior to that. Very interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, sure. I mean, it's a very manual problem right now. And so a lot of people, when you think about the alternative, a lot of us in marketers, we know that a lot of our products are actually in competition with like Excel, and getting people out of Excel, getting people into a new product, or even automating what Excel, the work you're doing in Excel. So it's a lot of behavior change, but we're really trying to focus on jobs to be done, right? I am a big fan of jobs to be done, and really focusing on, I need to take this data and I need to get it into my system and not have this take weeks and months. This should actually be something that's done in minutes.
Makes sense. We in our chat prior, you mentioned also that you guys are moving from a very marketing-led product, and you have inside sort of a very product-led sort of movement. Like maybe just for people who are listening in, who are not as familiar with sort of the separation of both, maybe can you give us like how you think about this two approaches, how they differ, and what you think Osmos will be doing, sort of maybe high level, a couple of steps to move into product-led marketing.
Yeah, I mean, product-led it's booming right now, right? I can't go anywhere on Twitter or LinkedIn without being just shoved in my face that PLG is the future, it's the best, blah, 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 right? Yes and no, right? So right now we're very marketing led. As I was saying, most of our leads are coming from ads, they're coming from organic content. It's a very marketing led motion, at least for us, right? We don't have a product team managing our SEO. That makes sense for certain products, but right now it's very marketing focused, marketing led, and that's the main way of our driving. I'm hoping by end of year that we can move to a PLG standpoint, and we still have a couple of things we need to validate if that's how our personas want that to look like. And what I mean by that is, when I come into my free trial, can I get to that aha moment really fast? Can I be onboarded, get to it, and see the value? Quick, fast, and iterate on that to make it faster and faster. The second piece to that with product led is the product should be leading to more customers. It should be leading to that virality, whether that's word of mouth. It's more than just a simple invite my team member, right? That's a way to grow users, but like I need to bring in other companies. And so when I think about moving to there's a lot of things that need to happen. We need to have a really good onboarding experience, so that way customers get to the aha moment quickly. Mm-hmm. We need to then start measuring that piece of PQLs, product qualified leads. So that way we have a good sales assist motion of, hey, sales team, here is a really good lead for you to go reach out to. We have a high propensity to convert. Lastly, we need to then work on that virality and word of mouth within the product, and making that easy and clear, so that way, once someone gets to that point, they're able to then share it, talk about us, love us, right? That's where we need to get to. We're not there yet.
Very cool. You mentioned paid acquisition there as well. Just one side topic a little bit, because it has been coming up on the podcast quite a bit. The cookieless future, is that something you start thinking about? Is retargeting, is that a topic that even plays a role in your industry? If not, feel free to let me know, we move on, but otherwise I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a part of it, right? So I'm a big fan of trying to use events and getting that event tracking in place. Using Tag Manager, so Google Tag Manager coupled with Google Analytics right now, we're trying to track everything from an event standpoint. An event standpoint is scroll depth, it's clicks of a button, and feeding that into Google Analytics, and eventually pulling that from the analytics API into like BigQuery, right? So that way it's not necessarily reliant on the cookie of someone coming in their browser. It was really around, it's an anonymous person, they're doing these actions. Once you convert, we can then maybe tie that anonymous ID to a user ID right on the back end. And that's all GDPR compliant. It's all things that we should, really start moving towards, is tracking everything now, and not in a creepy way, but in a way that's actually helping us maybe even build better models and helping us with our conversion rates.
Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit. We've deep dived a little bit into sort of, how you think about the website, or you think about digital growth for Osmos. I'm curious to learn more about your journey. Now, there's a lot of content out there for marketers, right? And specifically, probably you face a lot of challenges in sort of being in a new industry, that a lot of best practices not necessarily apply. Like, how do you read? Like, how do you educate yourself? And maybe how do you filter from all the marketing noise out there?
Oh, man. Right now for me, I'm at a stage in my career where I feel fairly confident in my marketing knowledge. Where I'm really focusing right now is industry knowledge. And that's going to hopefully help me make me a better marketer, right? So it's a feedback loop. And so I'm reading a ton right now. I love to read other, even competitors' blogs. I love to read, some really cool Substacks, and for newsletters. And for me, when you think about filtering, it's like, okay, I'm going to subscribe to theirs, right? They seem to be covering a space that's interesting, that's maybe adjacent, and they have a great point of view. Bring that to me, just deliver it to my email, and I'll read it when I get to it, right? And so that's where I am right now in my own journey in trying to figure out some things, because for me on the marketing side, I need to be able to tell a really good strategic narrative. I need to be able to position the company, differentiate, and then highlight that through messaging and web copy.
Very cool. I have some rapid fire questions to throw at you as we're getting towards the end of the interview. You ready for those?
Let's go.
What's the last book you read, or the last podcast you listened to?
Oh man, last podcast would be The Data Stack. It's, again, I talk about, consuming information. I guess that was one that I missed, but I just listened to that one. And then for book, it's called Taco USA. And it's all about how tacos got really popular in America. I know, I love tacos. And so it's kind of fun to see how they ballooned to how they became popular, but also you get like regional variations, right? So tacos in Texas are different than tacos in California, right? And different than in Florida. And it's basically because of how they got there and who brought them there.
Very cool. What's one single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Well, right now we are really focused on converting free trials into customers. So it's kind of that stage of the funnel is something that we're pouring a lot of resources and analysis into to understand how do we get to that conversion lift.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. For my role, no boundaries. I would love to have more data analysts in marketing. And I know that they typically sit like on the data team, or maybe they're called a business analyst. I would just love more, like what I just described, moving analytics API into BigQuery and someone just mulling over that data and setting up the APIs, making sure they work, maintaining, building, analyzing, just that aspect, more of it. Tell me what to do.
Very cool. For the last question, I want to do a bit of time travel, right? Let's go all the way back to Oklahoma State, right? All the way back, heading out of formal education, you're getting into the world of And you've been sort of in product marketing actually quite a bit throughout your career. You've been in various different roles, started in marketing quite early as well. What's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
And this is such a good question because it's just years of mistakes. And I think for me, I would give myself the advice of you don't have to know everything right now, coupled with you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Appreciate that. JD, appreciate you taking the time with us on the Pathfund Presents show. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Osmos, what's the one thing that they should remember?
If you are struggling to bring in external data, check out Osmos. We can help you out.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathfund Presents.
Thank you.